Good to see you again. Good to be with you. Time for a story. There was a girl, a tender-hearted girl, and her tender-hearted father, and her tender-hearted grandmother, who were all sensitive and responsive to human need. And they were the ones who led the family in activities of responding to particular needs that they would discover among neighbors, extended family, friends, and strangers. The grandmother came down with a brutal illness and spent the last 3 years of her life in considerable pain and suffering. The young girl visited her devoutly and was a source of considerable comfort and happiness to her grandmother. But death came, and when her father saw that the girl was ready for some conversation, they took a walk outside, sat down in solitude together at a park bench, and had what proved to be a memorable conversation. The girl was mainly angry at God for not intervening to prevent all that pain and suffering. The father was also grieving. But part of what he tried to share was that in his work as a history professor, he had his annual World History Survey, in which, though he tried to give a balanced presentation of the richness of civilization, East and West, and Middle East, and North and South, he did have occasion to mention the bubonic plague, the natural disaster of the Lisbon earthquake, the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln, and world wars. And he spoke about these two perspectives. On the one hand, we have a sense of sympathy and pity, which is normal and natural as we respond to human suffering, the suffering of other creatures as well. But there's another perspective. There's a long-range perspective. And this World History Survey had given him a view of the whole of human history. And he would every now and then season his course with indirect indications of the promise that one day humankind would live in a worldwide advanced civilization, also known as the kingdom of heaven on earth. And he said, I mourn some of the things I see happening in our world today. It seems like some of the lessons have not been learned yet. But he encouraged his daughter that her visits, many visits, devoted visits to her grandmother had been a source of great comfort and happiness for her grandmother. And that encouragement stayed in her heart. Years passed. The girl grew up, went to college, majored in nursing, and dropped her faith in God. More years passed. Then, in the maturity of her nursing career, she had her own son, and her husband died. But her son had kept his faith through high school, was now in college and ready for a more complete discussion of the eternal truth. Happy are they who mourn, for they shall be comforted. And the mother told of how she had acquired a long-range view of a human life and its potentials on this earth and beyond. And they talked about the grieving process and how mourning is not just about when someone dies. There are all kinds of losses that occasion deep sadness, deep disappointment, a sense of apparent defeat. And these two are special times. And that the grieving process should be allowed to take its own deep and thorough course. It may go more quickly in those who are more mature, spiritually, cosmically, in wisdom, and in other ways as well. Psychological understanding. But just to try to push the happy button, I'm spiritual, joyful, joyful. No. To allow the process its own rhythm. Not, I've got to be a tough guy. Tough guys don't show emotion. Stuff it, suck it up, get through it. Mourning is part of genuine manhood, she urged upon her son. It takes time to experience the pain and the suffering honestly, to accept, to come to understand, to learn the lessons, and to set forth anew on the path forward. If we mourn in God and with God, we do experience divine comfort in this life, sometimes coming to us through the ministry of family and friends and neighbors and caregivers and strangers. And that mourning is not all about us, it's about others too, and their needs. And if we stay sensitive and responsive to those needs, we remain all the more open to receive comfort in this life from divine and human sources, not to mention the unspeakable comfort in the life to come. And so for now, whatever is going on in your life and in our world, always know that you are a divinely created, infinitely loved, spiritually indwelt, evolutionary free will, son or daughter of the living God. Good day.